Today we will be going over how to pickle vegetables. We'll be working with pickling some cocktail cucumbers, but this recipe you can use to pickle carrots or red tomatoes or green unripe tomatoes or beets. Pretty much any of the pickles that you see in the Middle Eastern cuisine. So let's get started. We will need 2 cups of water, 1 jalapeno, a teaspoon of sugar, 2 teaspoons of vinegar, 6 small garlic cloves or 3 large ones, 2 tablespoons of salt, and we have some cucumbers here, just whatever will fit into a 32-ounce canning jar. We'll start by sterilizing the jar, and the easiest way to do this is by using the microwave. If you prefer, you could just boil it in hot water, but you can just rinse it in water, and when it's a little bit wet like this, you can stick it in the microwave for 90 seconds and it will be sterile. It's a much faster and easier method. Now that it's been in the microwave for 90 seconds, it will be super hot, so make sure that you're using mittens to remove it. As the jar is cooling down, let's prepare the cucumbers. To the 2 cups of water, add the sugar, the salt, the 2 teaspoons of vinegar, and mix really well until they are combined and all the salt has been dissolved. Set that aside, then slice each garlic clove in half or into smaller pieces if you prefer. Set those aside, then remove the stem from the jalapeno and slice into thin slices. You could use a whole jalapeno here, more than 1 jalapeno, or don't put any at all. This really just is a preference. It gives it a nice little kick, but it won't be too spicy. Now for the cucumbers, using a sharp knife, gently score the cucumbers, a little tiny slit on each end, as you can see here in the video. Do that to all of the cucumbers and we will be ready to pickle them. By the way, you can double, triple, or quadruple this recipe if you are using a lot of vegetables that you want to pickle. If you're using green tomatoes, if they're small, you can use them as is, put them whole, or you can slice them into quarters if they're big. If you're pickling any carrots, you can slice them into thin rounds. If you just want to make pickled jalapenos, you can slice the jalapenos the way you saw in the video. You can pretty much pickle any vegetable that you want using this method. Arrange the cucumbers into the canning jar. They don't have to be perfectly stacked, but just stack them in a way where you can fit as much as possible. There's really no certain amount because the cucumbers will vary inside. Now that we have the first layer, add half of the jalapeno and half of the garlic, then stack the rest of the cucumbers. Once that's done, add whatever you have left of the jalapenos and the garlic. Now pour the brine that you prepared earlier on top until it's completely covering all the cucumbers, jalapenos, and garlic. And then sanitize your lid by boiling it in hot water for 30 seconds and seal the jar. The jar will have to remain sealed. You can put it in a pantry and leave it untouched for at least 2 weeks. But if you can leave it for a month, it will be a lot better. But it will be ready in 2 weeks. And as you can see here, we pickled some green tomatoes, and the green tomatoes, if they're large, you can cut them into smaller pieces, or if they're small, you can just poke little holes in it and pickle it exactly the same way as the cucumber. This is an amazing pickles recipe. It's very crunchy and just the right amount of acidity and saltiness. I hope this recipe turns out great for you. Please let us know how you like it in the comment section, like and subscribe.